2014 Smart ForTwo Electric Drive.
Electric cars are fucking great, and my car is just wicked fast. This car may have a ton of torque, but when I drag it, I come in last.
The 2014 Electric Drive, or I kid you not, ED for short, is a 75 horsepower rear-wheel drive mid-engine beast weighing only 900 kilograms. Honestly, I think the name is just terrible, as I can't imagine anyone wanting to own a car synonymous with erectile dysfunction. Although most owners of this vehicle call it Ed and not ED, which I find understandable, I call mine Arnie, as its colors remind me of Mr. Freeze. Its heritage is a little mixed. It's a very European cars, and in many ways, it's very French by design. This makes sense as it's made in France. Ma bite douce sont du fromage. But in many ways, it's very German. It's very precise, it's very efficient, it looks proper, and looks like it doesn't want to give you any trouble. But don't get it wrong, on the inside, Arnold here is metal as fuck.
Mein Schwanz ist reich and riecht nach Käse.
This car has 100 foot-pounds of torque, and for the small amount of weight that it has, it actually makes it so this car has a fairly decent amount of pull. The acceleration in this car is quite impressive at low speeds, but loses torque quickly because of the voltage safety limits of its 17.6 kilowatt battery. The battery inside is rated for 109 kilometers of range, and Mercedes promises that it will be able to reach at least 80% of that even after 10 years of use. The ED gathers a lot of attention due to its strange design, and most people don't even notice that this is an electric. Part of that, of course, is to do with the fact that the smart car is not exactly a popular choice here in Alberta. Alright, let's have me from the past go over a few features of my particular smart car. Hello, this is Clint with another episode of Killer Otaku Robots. Here we are, we're doing a car review, because, you know, this isn't an anime channel. There's no anime here, this is all car. Look at my fancy 2014 Smart Electric Drive. It's got lots of trunk space, it's small size. And get out of here. Okay, so this trunk space is this many liters and can fit a lot of things. The motor is down beneath here. It's also where the batteries are. In here is a spot where you can put your charger. I don't have that here because I was lazy and decided not to unplug it from the wall. And there's lights and a window and like car things. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Let's continue. Well, that was a total failure. My microphone wasn't even plugged in. Well, I guess we should just carry on anyways. So, before I start reviewing the car, you should probably take this whole thing with one very giant, enormous grain of salt. The car I'm reviewing here is my own. It's the car that I purchased for myself for daily use. Now, the thing about talking about your own car is it's kind of like talking about your own child. Oh, why, he's just the most specialist car ever. There's nothing at all wrong with him. So when I go into how great and fabulous this car is, just keep in mind that my opinion is just a tad biased. That being said, though, I probably should never be a father because my car is a miserable fucking failure. I've had this thing for almost a year now, and in that time, multiple parts have failed on it. The AC compressor, the cabin fan, and even the entire transmission had to be replaced. There was a time when the 12-volt battery kept dying on me, so Mercedes had to replace half of the electronics inside just to try to figure out why. That took about a month to do, by the way. It really sucks to be forced to take a bus in the middle of winter just weeks after you bought a car. And despite how many times I try to get them to fix the front passenger side speaker, it still cuts out sometimes when I go over bumps. I mean, yeah, it's pretty quick, but once you reach about 80 kilometers an hour, this thing has about as much acceleration as a 90s minivan. The range of this car is crap. 100 kilometers is very limiting for someone who lives in Alberta. I would not suggest this car to anyone here unless they have something else to take for long trips. It's fine for city driving, but not much else. Also, this car is so weird and pretentious looking that it makes a Prius look normal. Now sure, the car is light, but if you look at the size of the car, it's actually not really that light. It's only about 10% lighter than a Mazda Miata. Now the thing about a Mazda Miata is that it's got a much faster and heavier 150 horsepower engine in it. It's also a fair bit bigger than the Smart ForTwo. It's about 50% longer and 30% wider. The reason the Smart is as heavy as it is due to the Smart ForTwo's iconic feature, the Tritium safety cell. Okay, the Tritium safety cell is quite literally a steel roll cage that makes up the majority of the frame of the car. Because of this cell, this car, year after year, has earned the rating for the safest car in its weight and size classes. While this doesn't make the car indestructible, it drastically increases your chance of survival in a crash. This added weight and small wheelbase makes for a very firm ride. You feel every bump, crack, or tiny pebble on these damned pothole-ridden Edmonton roads. If you have any sort of back condition, I recommend that you avoid this car like the plague. And despite all of this, despite all these issues, despite the fact that the wind blows this thing around like it had a giant sail on the top, and there's an annoying amount of road noise at speeds higher than 70 kilometers an hour, I am completely in love with this car. This is the easiest, most fun to drive car I have ever been in. Now, to be perfectly honest, I have not really driven that many cars. I've driven maybe 10 in my entire life. And I'm pretty certain that if I had the chance to drive a few more cars, that I would probably find one better than this. But one thing to keep in mind is that of the cars that I have driven, one of them was a Tesla Model S. Then I can say with complete certainty that I like the Smart ForTwo far more than the Tesla Model S. Now, before you Tesla fanboys start writing in the comment section, just wait a second. I am in no way saying that my ED is better than a Tesla Model S. I'm just saying it drives better. Now, hold on as I explain this. Daimler has been making cars for over 120 years now, and they've been making sport and luxury cars for the majority of this time. The German engineering of Mercedes is present even in this little Tykes toy of a car. The brand Smart is short for Swatch Mercedes Art. Even in the name, Smart is Mercedes. My ED is a tiny little car with way more performance and utility than you'd ever expect from something that size. This thing is super quick around corners and just as quick off a stoplight. More importantly, you don't have to go very fast to have fun in this car. Unlike the Model S, which feels more like remotely controlling a jet fighter than driving a car, the ED lets you feel what the car is doing. You feel every little bump and detail on the road through the steering wheel and the brakes. And since the throttle is just about as responsive as the Tesla's, this car makes you feel like it's an extension of your own body. When you drive a ForTwo Electric, you don't have ED, you are ED. So let me sum this up. As a daily commuter, it's hard to do better than this car. It's fun to use and extremely convenient to drive around in. In the winter, it performs perfectly fine and gets very warm very easily. Being electric, it's extremely cheap to run, and in theory at least, it should be cheap to maintain. The only fluids in this thing that I have to replace is the windshield fluid, radiator fluid, and brake fluid. There's barely any moving parts, and overall it's much simpler than a normal engine. Right now, in Alberta at least, it's really hard to find charging stations, and I guess it doesn't really matter anyways, because the Smart ForTwo can't charge with CHAdeMO or any of the other high-speed charging systems, so you'll probably be charging at home anyways. So this is something I like to say for anyone looking to get an electric car to use as a daily driver. If you live in a northern climate like Canada, it's a good idea to take the distance from work and back and then multiply that by 2. If the range of the car that you're looking at can't even meet that, then I recommend you get a hybrid or something else. But if the range of an electric car does work for you, I strongly suggest you get one. They're a lot of fun. Even if it's not the Smart, you'll probably enjoy the ton of low-end torque that you can only get with an electric drivetrain. As a car, the Model S is probably better overall. But for the $25,000 price range of a ForTwo Electric Drive, I can't think of anything better, and definitely not as fun. But if you do decide to get a car like this, one thing to remember is that this car is very strange and gathers a lot of attention, both good and bad. Remember to roll with the punches and don't be afraid to laugh alongside that terrible jokes will make an expense of your ED.
Oh, he's driving a smart car. He must think he's better than us. He must think we're so stupid. Oh, it's electric too. He's saving all the precious squirrels and dolphins.
Smart car? More like dumb car.
I bet that smart car'd look mighty nice underneath my truck. Oh, there goes the smart car again. I bet he wipes his ass with recycled paper.
I bet I could 3D print that smart car.
Oh my, he's driving an electric. But doesn't he know this is oil country?
I'm so tempted to get the license plate LOL oil.
This is the car you drive if you don't mind the fact that every time you're driving down the street, especially in an oil-happy province like Alberta, you're basically flipping the bird to everyone that you drive past. Some people like it. They're like, that guy's got guts. I wonder if he's gonna get stabbed. Other people, they like it a little less. Fortunately, overall, people are fairly positive. They're more curious as to how this mysterious machine can run without an engine than actually being angry for the fact that I'm not buying oil anymore.
Smart car, what the hell? Why is an anime channel doing a car review?
Look at that nerd in his electric car. I bet he's just some sort of weeaboo.
I bet Haruhi Suzumiya would love this car. Killer Otaku Robots doing a car review is like Car and Driver doing a review on Madoka Magica.
Oh god.
Killer Otaku Robots doing a car review? That's like Jeremy Clarkson doing a review on Honey Pop. Thanks for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed the video. In the description below, there will be links to the YouTube channel that I'm basing this off of. Regular Car Reviews is a great channel with some very strange humor. I strongly suggest you check them out, even if you don't like cars that much. Also, I've included a link to my Patreon. Feel free to leave a donation there if you want to help us out, and feel free to click on the subscribe button so you can be notified when our next video comes out. This review is part of a larger video that I'll be uploading in about a week. I'll link to that in the description below. So, thanks for watching, and may the mecha be with you.